I started off in comedy, not knowing what I was doing was even comedy back in 2007. Me and my best friend Joe were just sending funny videos trying to make each other laugh. We would play like random characters and stuff. And then as we started doing it, we realized, oh snaps, we're actually doing like our new age form of sketch comedy on social media. So we would start studying the greats, you know, like In Living Color, Matt TV. And then I started to realize, oh man, like the comedy of the past, there was a very clear archetype. You have like a very skinny, tall, lanky guy. You have a shorter, huskier, chubbier dude. You have the guy with the crazy, like wacky faces, like Jim Carrey. And me, having already been like the mold that I was, like I was super into sports. I was athletic. I joined the Marine Corps. I'm super into bodybuilding. But I didn't feel like the comedian that I was represented, because even in the comedy space, right, there's already very few Asians. Like in the whole Matt TV cast, you only have Bobby Lee. In Living Color, there was one random Asian guy, but he's like way in the back. So being Asian and in comedy was already super rare. And then now having muscles and being Asian in comedy was even more rare. But yeah, like 15 years ago, and before that, when you look at any movie, the funny Asian character is usually like a skinny Asian guy, or he's like the liquor store owner. Like you think 16 Candles, right? Like guy with big ass, like chiclet teeth, like a horse. And then he has like a split down the middle, and for some reason, every time he's talking, he's like cross-eyed for no reason. Like it's just crazy wacky. And I'm like, man, there's no one that really looks like who I am. And I feel like I'm just like the average American, you know? Like I like a little bit of this, I like a little bit of that. I just like to be funny at the same time. So I don't know what it is, but it seems like Hollywood didn't want any other Asian players besides that role. So when I was doing comedy back in the day with my body type, it was really hard to play all the characters that I want. Like you guys see me play an Asian mom, and it's an Asian mom with like broad shoulders and like a square jaw and like a square face, you know? And it was just, it looks funny. Like I didn't feel like I was part of that role. But in sometimes it actually added to the comedy, but at that time I didn't know it. Because at that time when I was doing sketch comedy, I was also auditioning. And I remember one of the roles I was auditioning for was for a North Korean soldier. I was on the phone, I just sent him my headshots and my resume, and I'm on the phone with the casting director. And he goes, oh, okay, cool, we gotta get uniforms ready for you. What's your height? I was like, oh, 5'9". And he goes, okay, what's your weight? And I was like, 190. And he goes, 190? He goes, no, that's not gonna work. We need someone that's like 130 or 140 for 5'9". And I'm like, is there any other role I could play? Could I be like the buffer North Korean soldier, like the dictator's bodyguard? He goes, no, we don't have that role. And then, because we needed you to be believable. That's what he said, believable. So he hangs up and I was like, oh shit, like there's really no roles for someone that's just me, you know? And I wasn't trying to be anybody. I'm just doing things that are natural to me and just doing the things that I want. But me being myself and who I naturally and organically inclined to be, there was just no like shoe that I fit into. So that's just like the sketch comedy stuff. When it came to stand-up comedy, that was even more weird, you know? Cause like now with Instagram, YouTube, like you see a bunch of dudes and chicks that lift, are strong, and you're like, okay, there's a whole world of people into fitness. Or when you lifted and you go to like a friend's barbecue or a friend's birthday at a bar, like immediately like you're the butt of the joke. It's like, what are you gonna do? Order a protein shake at the bar? And I'm like, ha ha ha, it's pretty funny, you know? So like with that kind of mindset back in the day when I was doing stand-up comedy, as soon as I stood up on stage, there's already a million questions from, number one, why is there this stand-up comic that doesn't have the body type that anyone else does? And then number two, why is this buffer comic also Asian? And they just had so many questions. So I took a stand-up comedy class and he said, you know, like, just to let you know, your look is very different. So as soon as you get up on stage, that is something you have to address immediately, or else no one's gonna be along for the joke. And so kind of like sketch comedy in the beginning, I thought it was a hurdle. I'm like, man, I gotta explain myself all the time. And But that also became what made my content so unique. So when I was doing stand-up comedy, as soon as I came up on stage, I was able to tell a lot of jokes and stories that no other comics did. Like I made fun of the military, I made fun of gang life, I had jokes about like working out and stuff like that. And it was cool because then I think people, when they're in the audience, they do know that there's these type of people exist, but these type of people rarely make fun of themselves. So it's cool to now I be kind of like that channel and that voice for that type of people that haven't made fun of themselves before. So like a lot of the things that I thought was like a crutch, but with like a change in perspective actually kind of was more unique and gave me an edge. It felt a little bit slower off the floor than I would like. It started accelerating past my knees, which is really good. So my back and glutes are feeling pretty good today. I just think my setup position, I think my knees were a little bit further away from the bar. So I was a little bit over leveraged and humped over, which is why I was a little bit slower off the floor before I straightened it out. So on the next one, 455, I'm gonna make sure I get my shins a little bit closer to the bar, get a little bit more quads in there, a little bit more upright, and hopefully that improves the speed a little bit. This year, my strength has been increasing tremendously. I'm super happy. Finally, I've been able to dedicate more time into the gym. So just to kind of give you like a frame of reference, before I was training 3 times a week, maybe like 1 hour each time, just for maintenance, because I have so many things going on. Now that I'm more settled, my kid is in school, I have more space, I'm training 4 days a week and doing a more traditional powerlifting workout where it could be 2 or even 3 hours long, but I'm getting all this extra volume and work in, and it's really paying off now. When I first started getting into lifting, this was like Ronnie Coleman heyday, right? Like, ain't nothing but a peanut, lightweight, yeah, baby. And people were just going ham, right? And back in those days, you didn't have like a behind the scenes camera to watch Ronnie Coleman do all the good form stuff, the high volume, not so sexy weight, but the true like technique stuff. So everything that was leaked onto YouTube was just his like max out days. So you think, oh, that's how these guys train. They're just going ham all the time. Pair that with my military experience, we gotta go harder, faster, you know, and there just wasn't like this more scientific approach. Everything was just either strength or will based. So my entire first half of the lifting career, it was just, and then now, with the onset of internet, you have people that are really smart, guys with PhDs, like very technical coaches come out, and you start to realize that strength, as much as it is a power sport, it's actually a skill sport too. Like strength is a skill that you have to develop. And so now, fast forwarding till today, like the skill component is something that I highly emphasize. So like, you know, when I'm deadlifting, I try to have that perfect single. And once I reach that, now I can add more weight and I try to repeat that. And even with like my accessories, it's not just about like what accessories are gonna make me look good. Everyone wants big quads, but which accessories are gonna help improve my skill. And for me, it's hamstrings. You watch my old videos on the deadlift, when it gets really heavy, I have a tendency to hitch. I really wanted to fix all that, you know? So now my approach is way different. I still love that, but I save that for days like this where it's meant to be ham. Everything else is just way more skill-based and it's more dialed down now. Come on. Nice. Easy. Come on. Nice. How many did I do? I don't even know. 6? Yay! Like one thing I really changed this year is really try to focus on hitting like 5 singles or 6 singles or 4 singles.
That's why you're taking that break in between?
Yeah, whereas before I would just rep it out, but then your form isn't identical. So like warming up, I'm trying to maximize or perfect the perfect single. So on the first one, if I get the first perfect single, all I have to do is repeat that motion, you know? So I try to take like 5 perfect singles I lost count, so I'm just keep going. But shout outs to Sean. He was the one that was telling me, like, when I have my big volume sets, 3 sets of 10, 4 sets of 10, I used to just rep it out. And he's like, nah, make it like 10 singles per set. But I'm pretty happy, 500. That was awesome. I haven't hit something of that weight, that volume, probably in like, I don't know, fucking 7 years or some shit. Hey, towards the end of last year, I wrote down the goals that I wanted to achieve in fitness in 2022. And I think the more mature of a lifter you are, the more you kind of have to zoom out and not go from like month to month or week to week, but actually have a big overall plan. So at the end of the year, you're really happy with what you accomplished. You know, whereas before, I might just kind of go with the whim, like, oh, I want to have bigger arms, bigger shoulders, and I'm just kind of constantly going like this, but not really like going forward, you know? And so towards the end of last year, I wrote a plan for my 2022 career, which is Q1, Q2, which is like the first 2 quarters, so from pretty much January until June, strength focused. I'm really just gonna focus on getting strong. I'm not gonna worry about, oh, my cardio sucks. Oh, have I been kickboxing? I'm not gonna try to let any of my other distractions get in the way of what I really wanna achieve. Then Q3, which is like July, August, September, I'm gonna try to maintain that strength that I built and go back to my leanest form. So really trying to like get my strength and my musculature up, and then while maintaining that with all the new knowledge that I have, try to keep that strength and be much leaner. Then Q4, go back more into athletic training because that's where my heart's at, and be able to do jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, all that. And hopefully by the end of the year, I have been able to like hit all the goals that I want, and then also retain all the tools that I've gained, rather than before I would just be like big and strong, lean and weak, big and strong, lean and weak, you know? I wanna like keep all the good stuff. In fitness, almost any goal can be achieved through the manipulation of 3 things: frequency, volume, intensity. And what was cool is because I had such a logical and structural approach to achieving goals, that really applied to my comedy and business, because things that I knew I needed to get better at, I'm like, you know what? I can't master this accent that I need to play for this role. Then I would bump up the frequency. I'd practice that accent literally every single day. And same thing with business, you know, like, is there something that we're not good at? We don't know how to do this on the website, or there's this new content we're trying to make. I can use one of those 3 variables to help me troubleshoot things in my life, things in my business, and also things in comedy, which is really interesting because I'm actually going to be writing a book about this, like just some of my own insights. So you guys heard it here first. But yeah, like fitness has really helped me in terms of being successful in the other areas of my life. So for me, I was able to use the lessons I learned in fitness and adapt it to comedy. But for you guys, I want you guys to be able to take all the lessons you take from fitness and adapt it to whatever else you want to do, you know? Like in this day and age, there's so many guys in fitness that cross over into business and they're just crushing it. Because like I was talking about, it's the same lessons: frequency, volume, intensity. Like just like how you want to troubleshoot a weakness or problem area, you troubleshoot the weakness and problem area of your business or whatever endeavor that you want to go through. And so it's so cool. Like I really think fitness is like a good way to learn how to troubleshoot, how to build, how to achieve what you want, and then you take that exact mindset and skill set and you could adapt it to anything else you want to do. Hopefully you guys liked that video, and hopefully you liked the story that I was telling. You know, like there's so many lessons in fitness that I'm so grateful that fitness has taught me. And if you guys are watching this video, you guys love fitness, you guys love Barbell Brigade too. So I hope you guys can take everything from your own training and adapt it into your own life and continue to dominate humbly out there all over the world. And thank you guys for always supporting. If you guys like the shirt I'm wearing, it's the Axiom tee. You go check it out, barbellbrigade.com, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.